Golly, that's good. I cracked myself up. I still haven't found my first Blanton's. That's different. I really like that. They're like together, like peas and carrots. That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud. This is not what I expected. Ah! It's Halloween! Hey! Boo! Okay. Ah! That's even scarier. Chris is watching, Robert's here, Daniel's here, Austin and Larry are watching. How are you? Happy Halloween. It's Tuesday. We're going to do something a little bit different tonight. I've been looking forward to this. I got this bottle back in February, and I haven't touched it. Even the cone of shame on the gargoyle is still there. I have not done a thing with it, and it's time. Okay. So, Von Payne Black is produced by Von Payne Spirits, based out of Clearwater, Florida. I've actually got a really nice video of their location. I found online. It's not a very good quality video, but I found their location. Check this out. It's Halloween. So I had to have a little bit of fun. So there's some things that make Von Payne a little bit unique. First and foremost thing, of course, is the topper. Topper is a gargoyle which ships with kind of a cone of shame on it. We're going to pull that off. It protects the gargoyle head. Okay. And then maybe, I guess you can call it a muzzle maybe, so he doesn't bite you. But then you pull that off and the gargoyle becomes the pour spout. Now, how does it do that? This is a real video. I'm not going to mess with you again. This is a real video about how this works. Check it out.
So you got yourself a bottle of Von Payne whiskey, and you're not sure how to open the gargoyle pour spout. Well, I'm going to show you. First, start by removing the clear plastic wrap that sits on top of the gargoyle's head. Then take a knife or scissors and cut the clear plastic wrap around the bottle neck and remove that. Remove the gargoyle head from the bottle, grip the silicone stopper and pull off the red tab. And then firmly press the gargoyle head back into the bottle and pour yourself a glass. Cheers. Enjoy the pleasure of Payne.
All right. I'm still trying to get mine cut off of here. The wings kind of get in the way a little bit. Using my bat knife. One of the sharpest knives I've ever owned. I gotta be careful. And it's really awkward, so it's really easy to cut yourself. All right. Let's see if that did it. It did it. And there's that. Pull that off. Easier done than, or said than done. There. I think they got it. And then you put the gargoyle back on, and now it's ready to pour. Alrighty, so Von Payne Black is produced by Von Payne Spirits in Florida. Their slogan is the pleasure of pain. It's done by some guys who consider themselves counterculture. They've got tattoos and they've been involved in MMA and all that stuff. The guy's name is Steve Allen. Somebody online called it the satanic Blantons. I thought that was kind of funny. It really kind of is. So I've got my skull glass here. Let's do the scary. Ooh, scary. Ooh, scary. We're just gonna pour a shot. I mean, say what you will, but having a gargoyle vomit the juice into your shot glass is a little less than appetizing. But it's unique and it's unusual, so why not enjoy it, right? Okay. All right. Let's see. What else can I tell you about this while it rests? Metal gargoyle the metal gargoyle pour spout. Say that 5 times fast. Is made from a coated zinc alloy that is food safe. The primary metal conduit which comes into contact with the liquor is made of stainless steel. It's 90 proof, 45 ABV. I just spilled some because this is not a good swishy glass. Got it right on my phone. Let's see. $59.97 in the state of Ohio. I think that's actually down in price a little bit. Because elsewhere it's $60 and otherwhere I saw it like $75. So, what a bargain. I've actually talked to one of the reps from Von Payne. They're very, very friendly. When I was still doing retail. Okay. This is not a very good glass for nosing. Oh, wait. You pour out of the... Idiot. Okay. All right. Well, you really got to tilt that thing. I guess the nice thing is you're not going to end up with, a bad pour. Sometimes you get a bottle that doesn't pour very well and it ends up everywhere, dripping everywhere, and this one doesn't do that. That's kind of nice, actually. So... let's give it a little swishy swish. Right now, what I'm getting mostly of is just a fruit flavored or a fruit forward whiskey. This is their description: robust and distinctive currant berry, brown sugar with hints of oak and cinnamon. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what a currant berry smells like, but the oak and cinnamon I'm getting for sure. A little vanilla. I'm not getting anything that yells currant. So you're thinking to yourself, what's a currant? Well, I'll get all that out here. Black currant was actually, it was illegal to grow it in the state, or in the United States until 2003. It produces or can produce a mold that is... it's destructive to like white pine. So loggers were getting this mold on white pine, so they outlawed it like back in the 70s. And it finally became legal again in the year 2003. But some states still outlaw black currants because of the potential of the mold and what it can do to the logging industry. Benefits of this tart berry are emerging into the U.S. market. Dense superfruit, high in antioxidants and vitamin C, like 200% of your daily need for vitamin C. So this is good for you. Think of an almost ripe blackberry that is still tart and adds a bit of earthy flavor. That's a black currant. That's what it's supposed to taste like. All right. Okay, now that it's been out a little bit, now I'm getting a little bit more of that other scent. Yeah, now I'm getting more of the black currants. A little more of a fruit forward. Von Payne Black is a premium 3-year blended American whiskey infused with natural black currant, 90 proof, semi-sweet and tart. Our process for making this black currant whiskey starts with a 3-year, 14% rye bourbon base. Now, a rep online said that they started with a 7-year bourbon. So is it a 3-year bourbon or a 7-year bourbon? We weren't able to get the answer to that. But most places call it a 3-year, so I'm going to stick with that. Then they infuse it with real natural black currant. Now that's infused, not flavored. Flavored whiskey uses artificial or natural flavorings, often sugary and sweet. And you can usually tell it's fake. Doesn't mean it's bad. Most of the time it means it's bad. But infused whiskey, on the other hand, is when they take the spirit and they steep it through in this case, the black currants, right? They got the fruit, the black currants, and I imagine they crack it, get the skin off, all that kind of stuff. And they steep it down through that black currant. The whiskey's run through the currant, soaks up the flavors, sugars, oils, colors, and all the other minerals and compounds of the black currant. Then they filter it to remove any pieces or chunks from the spirit. So that's the difference between flavored and infused. So they do it naturally. Let's, yeah, more and more now that it sits, I'm getting more and more of the tartness, the berry. Still some honey, some vanilla, cinnamon, a little black pepper actually. All right. Now, when I was doing retail, I had people that drove 2 hours to come and get this stuff. I had other people that took a sip of it and came in and told me how horrible it was. So, and I noticed there was a bar in town that was like, if somebody said they wanted to try it, they'd give it to them. Here, you can have it. So this might be horrible. We'll see. That's interesting. All right. So it took me a second to kind of wrap my mind around that one. It's got a really nice bloom, decent mouthfeel. It doesn't feel light. Somebody online said they thought it felt a little bit light. I don't think it does. But I'm going to give it another shot here now that my palate is primed. It's got a butteriness to it. Nice mouthfeel. The flavor's unusual. There's a lot of that whiskey that comes through. And the whiskey itself is pretty decent. 14% rye whiskey. So, it's a decent rye whiskey. 3 years. It doesn't come off as a young whiskey. It doesn't have that astringent type of feel to it, like a young whiskey. So the black currants, obviously, that when they run that through there, when they infuse it, it probably takes out, almost filters it in a way, and brings in some of those flavors. Bill's watching. Kara's watching. Hey, Kara. Daniel. Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching. This is the Von Payne for Halloween. Blah, blah. Would I drink this just to drink it the way it is? I might, actually. I wouldn't. I don't know. It's really unusual. I don't hate it. I know the one guy that came into the store all the time. There was another guy that came in all the time. Hated it. It's terrible, man. Terrible. It's like, I'm trying to sell this stuff, dude. Quit being a douche. But I guess it kind of reminds me of a ready-made sour, right? So if you're going to make a New York sour, that's bourbon with wine on top. And some simple syrup and things like that. And you can make it frothy if you want to with some egg white. You know the drill. It reminds me of almost a pre-made New York sour. Instead of wine, though, it's this black currant. And the black currant does have a tartness to it. So their flavor profile says this. Taste, upfront, vibrant, earthy berry, slightly tart and sweet. Which is interesting to say tart and sweet, but it is. complemented by oaky tones and a long, warm finish. And I will corroborate everything they wrote there. I'm not going to tell you I love it because it's just so different. But the black currants, for me, do not overtake the whiskey. To me, they complement each other well. Daniel says, worth having at the bar just for the bottle and the conversation. Yeah, I totally agree. It's definitely an unusual bottle. You're not going to see anything like this anywhere else. And I guess they went through like 3 years of designing the bottle top. They were doing 3D printing and things like that to make this work, to test it out. The guy definitely wanted a gargoyle, and he definitely wanted the wings and all that stuff. I read that about it. Now, I did not buy this from a store. I found out that they were sending them out for people who ordered them online, and it's legal for them somehow to ship to Ohio. I don't know how, but they did it. So they shipped it to me, and then, of course, Ohio starts getting it. And I'm like, I had to go the long route to get my Von Payne. You guys are putting it in the store, and to its credit, I will tell you that it's selling out. When we get a case of it, I'm not there anymore. When we got a case of it, well, we normally get, 2 or 3 cases of it, and there's only 6 in a case, because you got to fit this bottle in the case. It's not like a normal bottle; it doesn't fit in there the same way. So there's 6 in a case, and the cases are like big because there's so much space needed for the wings and everything to keep it all safe. But normally, if we got a case or 2 or whatever, it would be gone in the week that we got it, or shortly longer after. 10 days tops. And when the reps called me, the boss was on vacay, so I got to talk to him, and they said, how's it selling? I said, it's selling really well. Really. There's other stuff that we've gotten, and it didn't fly off the shelf. It's still there, as a matter of fact, and we've had it for, a month. And the Von Payne, we can't keep it more than a week to 10 days. Oh, they're really happy. Oh, that sounds great. You want to buy more? It's got to go through a distributor. So, I suppose we could order it, but it would have to go through the distributor first. Have to go through OHLQ. The things you learn when you get into retail liquor, it's actually really interesting. Sometimes I kind of miss it because some of the people, I got to know some of the people really, really well. We had this one guy that was blind. Blind. And he would stand at the counter and wait for everybody to go by, and then he'd order what he wanted, and we'd have to call up help to, because he can't see. And if we have customers, I can't leave the floor. So he would come up and we'd get everything that he needed, and he was a heck of a night. Ramon was his name. Really nice guy. Really great guy. So we went out of our way to make sure that he was happy because he was a great guy. And he was loyal to us. If you like wine, you would like this, I think. Think of this as a high-proofed wine. And I like wine. Now, wine, particularly red wine, is often infused with black currants. You'll find black currants in a lot more wines than you will whiskeys, I guarantee. So, wine drinkers may be very, very familiar with black currants. For whiskey, it's a lot different, but if you like wine, especially red wine, a deep, rich red wine, maybe a Chianti, you might really like this. I find myself liking it, but I like wine. So, especially dark, dry wines. Daniel says, does it come with a conventional cork for storage? It did not. But I imagine I could put this red dongle thingy goober, whatever, back on it for storage. Although, this, I guess it wouldn't be particularly, no, it won't be particularly airtight because the stainless steel thing doesn't go all the way down. It only goes about there, so you probably want to put this doohickey back on there again for that. No, or find a cork that fits it. That's actually a really good question, Daniel, and I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. I don't think I'd want to leave this open. Now, how much air is going to get through that teeny tiny little straw that's down in there? Probably not a lot. But you make a really good point. So this will probably go back on when I'm done tasting this tonight. With that in mind, let's move on to our water. And I'm going to go ahead and pour out of my blinking skull, since I'm just not going to drink it out of that. Whoa! Spooky! Okay. Yeah, maybe a little more. You can't do that without the sound effect. You get yourself a bottle of this and you're going to go every time you pour it. Because how can you not? It's so much fun. All right. Okay. Oh, gosh, this is fun. We're going to come back and do this some more on Thursday. Not with all this. Not with all the Halloween stuff. We're going to get back to normal a little bit. But we do have a Thursday Bourbcast coming up, and I'll tell you what that is here shortly. This was fun to set up. I actually had to go to the attic and get out the Halloween decorations. My daughter asked me to get them out of the attic for Halloween. I didn't do it until today. In fact, nobody can say I didn't celebrate, you know. So, okay. All right, so add a little water to it. Let's see what it does. That must have really been sloppy. There we go. Okay. So, the mouthfeel got even better. Even more buttery. Very nice, actually. It did smooth the flavors out a little bit. Not that it needed it, but I'm not going to tell you it opened it up because it didn't. It did smooth it out some. Of course, it brought the proof down. It's only 90 proof. But it smoothed it out. It dispersed the flavors just a little bit more. Dispersed and concentrated. I mean, it's two different things, but it kind of same thing. It's tough to describe. I guess it just brought everything together, as though spread it out, but bring it. You know what? It's a weird way to describe it, but I may be one of the few. I don't know. I like this stuff. I don't love it. It's not going to be a go-to. It got sweeter. It got a lot sweeter. I did notice that. So if you like wine, add a little water to it, about a milliliter. It's going to get a lot sweeter for you like a wine does. Not a sweet wine. I mean, think about your dark reds, your cabs, your merlots, your I forget. Your Pinots, you know, so even your Chiantis, although this is much, much sweeter than a Chianti. But it didn't get so sweet that it's not dry anymore. It just added some sweetness to it. It's quite nice. Is it going to be my top of the year? No. But it's definitely unusual. And again, as a wine drinker, I like the flavors, personally. So, and maybe I've had blackcurrant and wine myself, and I don't know it. You know, I made my rounds as a wine drinker. You know, they know me. Okay. You know, the other thing you could do, Daniel, is put the muzzle back on. Right? That would keep the air out of it. I should have paid attention how it was on, so I could put it back on. But this muzzle, this cone of shame that it came with, maybe that would go back on. I don't know. I'll find out later. All right, one more of these, then ice. Okay. If you like Angel's Envy Rye, Rabbit Hole Derringer, Legent, Basil Hayden's got some stuff, but I haven't tried it, so I'm not going to put it up there. They've got the dark rye and they've got the wine cask. those are the ones that come to mind. Does it come with a... No. Okay, I already read that. Those are the ones that come to mind. That if you like those, you might find yourself enjoying the Von Payne. Because those have a very different profile. They're very wine-forward, particularly the Rabbit Hole and the Legent. Have got a wine-forwardness. The Angel's Envy is a little less than this, but the rye being so sweet and so sugar-forward, if you like that, you might like this. Now, this is not as sweet as that Angel's Envy rye. Not at all. And it's more wine-like, like the Derringer from Rabbit Hole. Only not as wine-like. It's really tough to describe, but it's just new and different, and I like it. All right. So, had somebody on YouTube ask me a question about my gorgeous ice sphere. So I will answer that question. He said, does it really make a difference in the whiskey? Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? So, okay, the first thing about it is it's gorgeous. You know, he was asking about the clear ice versus like cloudy ice. I do have some molds that aren't as nice, and they will produce an ice sphere, but they're cloudy because they don't have directional freezing, right? So what I told him is that with directional freezing, with the clear ice, I think, particularly since I tend to boil it a lot of the time before I put it in, or at least use really hot water, you're going to get out some of those impurities. Because, like, you've tasted an ice cube that's been in the freezer too long, it tastes like freezer. If you allow an ice cube to become cloudy, that means it didn't freeze directionally, which means it didn't freeze all the air out, right? So you might end up with a freezer taste, maybe a little bit. It may not. It may melt a little bit faster because it's not as pure and solid as an ice sphere, or as a clear one. So it may melt a little bit faster. It may taste a little different. He was asking about that, and so I gave him what little expertise I have, which isn't a lot. It's just firsthand experience. And the fact that it's just elegant, and I happen to like it. I like it clear. It looks gorgeous. And I do want to get some cubes. They do make molds for clear cubes, and I do want to do that. But if I don't do that, I still really like the spheres. The first bar I ever went to where I had a clear sphere was in North Carolina. Place, I think it was called the Roxy. It was like a speakeasy. It was gorgeous. And the drink I got was called the Dark Side. It had this big glass and a big honking huge ice sphere in it. And I was like, this is so cool. And it was one of the best cocktails, one of the best mixed drinks I've ever had. And I don't know if it's on their menu all the time. I would love to find out what's in it. It ain't this. I don't think. This is seasonal, by the way. I think they only do like a release a year. And, you know, they'll release a lot. Everything they've got. And then it's over for the year, and then you got to wait till next year. And this is only like, I don't know, the 4th or 5th release. It hasn't been around very long. I couldn't find a whole lot of information about Von Payne. They've got their own website, and it's more pomp and circumstance than, you know, bolts and nuts. But so far I'm liking it, and I like the story behind it. All right. And I like the bottle. Okay. And it doesn't taste that bad. Again, if you're a purist and you like bourbon just the way it is, and especially if you like a high-proof bourbon, you may not like this one. But if you like a lot of different flavors, if you find yourself liking the exploration of different flavors, this is one you may want to look into. All right. Whoa. Okay. So one reviewer I read said that he really liked it on ice. If you like the black currant part of it, drink it on ice, because that's the part that beat me over the head right there. The fruity part of it, whereas the whiskey part of it kind of dissipates. What I'm getting more than anything else now is the black currants. I think this would be interesting in some cocktails. Like, again, if you want to try a New York sour with this, it might really work or it might really not work. So it all depends on which wine you choose, because they may actually like fight each other in the glass. So I would try to find a red wine with some black currants in it if you want to do that for a New York sour with this thing. The one reviewer I read said that he tried it in an old fashioned, and he irked me. Okay, he irked me because he called it an old fashioned. Even if you're doing it plural, it's old fashioned or old fashioned. The name of the drink is an old fashioned, and pluralizing it, just add an S to the end of it. It's not an old fashioned. My educational moment. Anyway, this reviewer called it old fashioned. I wanna email him so bad. Look, dude. Read the Boston Bar Guide, buddy. Anyway, I'm being talked to here. Chris says, cocktail UFC in a glass for a new name. I'm not sure I know exactly what you mean, Chris. Cocktail UFC. That's what you want to call it? Is that the name of the drink? Or is that a drink that exists and you want to use this in it? Clarify so I know what you're talking about. Anyhow, he tried it in an old fashioned. He said he didn't love it. And then he did something else to it. I don't remember what it was. And then he liked it. And he could see himself drinking it in old fashioned. More. I crack myself up. I can be so petty. Okay. Yeah, that really gets a lot more black curranty as you put ice on it. I think I like it better without the ice, but that's nothing unusual. I mean, I've never had a black currant. I might like them, but I get the feeling that I just had a mouthful of them right there. What'd you say? For the mash of wine and bourbon. So you want the wine? I'm still not 100% following you, Chris. You want the two to throw down, do you? I think I'd want them to, hold hands and sing Kumbaya. But yeah, if you like that fight in the glass, that's up to you. I mean, you're more than welcome. I will allow this. I will allow it. Pour yourself a little Chianti, and then throw in a little, Concord. Mix them up and see if you like it. That's a fight in a glass. That's what I think is going to happen. I think you want something that's going to be complimentary, right? So find yourself a black currant wine or a red wine with black currant infused into it, and do that if you want to do this with a New York sour. Because I just don't think you want that fight. You want your drink to be tasty. You want to enjoy it, right? And if you have the flavors beaten up on each other for dominance, I don't know that you're going to totally enjoy that, Chris. I just don't think you're going to dig it. I wouldn't dig it. Kathy's watching. Hey, Kathy, we're just about done. If using a wine, it does not meld well. Okay, all right. Well, that's fair. I would tell you that with ice, it tastes like wine to me. And it's not tasty. I mean, it's actually decent. So it's not going to be for everybody. If you're buying, if your habit is to go to the store like I saw so many people do, and buy the Evan Williams Black Label, which is an 80 proof, it's tasty whiskey, for 80 proof, it's got a great flavor to it. If that's what you buy, no, don't buy that. But if you like tasting different whiskeys, and you particularly like those ones I mentioned before that have a wine-forward flavor to them, you might really like this one. I like this one. I don't love it, but I like it. And the bottle is definitely interesting. And if anybody wants to try it, it'll be here at the house, and somebody else can come and try it, and they can tell me, "Ew, what are you doing? Ew." And I'll say, "Okay, more for me." I'm really simple. I'm really easy to get along with. If you don't like it, that's fine. It's more for me. All right, gang. So this Thursday, 2 days from today. I'm sorry, I'm in a good mood. Halloween, it's fun. Okay. Hey, Coachella Valley's checking in here. Michael's with us. Hey, how are you, Michael? I'm just gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm not gonna give you commentary. But I went out today because somebody suggested, hey, you ought to go fishing today. So I did. And I went out and I took my pole and I took my tackle box and I was out there for maybe 20 minutes and it started to snow. And it didn't just snow a little, it snowed a lot. And I mean, we don't have it like, it was just 70 degrees like a few days ago. So the ground isn't frozen, nothing like that. And it just rained a couple days ago. But on solid surfaces like tables and chairs and benches and things like that, it's sitting on that right now. And it's going to get cold tonight. It's going to freeze. And I think we got frost last night. The leaves in the grass had frost on it. So those of you from Coachella Valley, California, it's not that I'm jealous. Shut up. The snow was not welcome. While I'm fishing particularly. And I caught nothing. I didn't even get a bite. Well, I think I got one bite. Why am I fishing when it's 34 degrees? Because crappie like it when it's cold. Duh. All right, so next week. No. This Thursday. Sean's watching. Hey, Sean, how are you, man? I'm glad you're here. We're just about wrapped up. We did the Von Payne. Not everybody's going to like this. I do. It's different. It's very wine-like. I'll recap just a little bit. If you like the Rabbit Hole Derringer, if you like Legent, if you like Angel's Envy or Angel's Envy Rye, those flavors that tend to really stand out over the bourbon itself, you'll like the Von Payne. The black currants that it's infused through, they get quality black currants from around the world, because you can't get them real well in the USA, although they source mostly in the USA. It's got an unusual flavor to it, very wine-like, and I like wine, so I like this. So I wanted to make sure that I got that out, because if you're looking at getting Von Payne and you don't like wine, don't buy it, because it's definitely got a wine-like sweetness to it. Without being overly sweet. It's more like a red wine or a Chianti or something like that. Only it's not grapes, it's black currants. So, but I found it quite flavorful. I enjoyed it. Will I drink it every night? No. Will I drink it when I'm in the mood for something? Yes. If I don't have any Legent or I don't have any Derringer in the house, I'll get into this. I don't want to empty this bottle, but fortunately, it's coming to Ohio pretty regularly, and you can buy it online. So if worst comes to worst, I'll get another bottle of this, and I will enjoy drinking it. So, because I didn't hate it, I actually rather. It's not my favorite, but it's one of the nicer pours that I've had this year. It's. Let me put it this way: instead of nicer pours, let me say this: it's one of the more unexpectedly flavorful pours that I've had this year. I expected to hate it. I don't hate it. I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. And there's a lot of whiskeys that fit in that area of, I don't love it, but I like it. So, there you go. So, thank you for tuning in. Next week, sorry, I'm so used to saying that. This Thursday, 2 days from now, we're going to do a bonus Bourbcast, because I was going to do this on Thursday, and I thought, you know what, this is Halloween. Let's do it on Halloween. Let's give it the honor that it deserves, right? So on Thursday, all this is going to be gone, and we're going to go back to the regular set, and we're going to be doing this one. This is Watershed. Now, this is not just regular Watershed. This is a special pick from the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society. This particular pick was then duplicated as an OHLQ pick. I think that's the way it went, because the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society had like this much time to sell out the barrel that they bought. They didn't get that much time to do it, so OHLQ said you got to return your bottles if they haven't been sold. And I think they went out in the OHLQ allocation. That's my guess. So, with that in mind, this watershed does say Maumee Valley Whiskey Society on it. This is 59.1% ABV. It's going to be like, 118 proof. It's signed by the head distiller, and his name is, I think, Greg Lehman, but I really can't read it very well. It is barrel strength, and this is what we're going to be doing 2 days from today on Beautiful Bourbon. Now, the other thing I should tell you is that November, I was going to do it in October, and I failed so badly. So November is going to be no drink November for me. The only day that I intend after tonight, the only day I plan on drinking is going to be on Bourbcast night. I already know I'm going to fail. However, I'm going to give it my best shot. So that means probably that when I do Bourbcasts, probably closer to the end of November, there might be a few sips, and then I'm going to start to talk like this. I don't know. I hope not. But I have never reviewed a watershed before, so this is going to be a first. And I'm looking forward to this in 2 days, right here on Beautiful Bourbon. We'll be doing it at 7 o'clock on Thursday, and I hope to see you then. So those of you who came in late, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. You can go back and watch this once I post it, and it'll also be on YouTube either tonight or tomorrow. And that's the handle thing that they call it now. It's at Beautiful Bourbon. So check that out if you miss the Facebook live. And of course, this will be on there as well on Facebook, unless they, for some reason, decide to delete it, which they have done. So anyway, George is watching. Hey, George, we're just getting done. But I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining me again. If you didn't get to see the whole thing, it'll be Memorexed here shortly on Facebook, and later on tonight or tomorrow on YouTube, you can see the whole thing. Von Payne was our item of interest, and then in 2 days, coming back with the Watershed Bourbon. We have not yet reviewed Watershed, and this is a special pick, so I look forward to getting into it with you. If you get the opportunity to pick up a Watershed Bourbon, grab it, do it. It won't be the same as this, but at least we'll be able to drink together. So I would appreciate any opportunity I have to drink with you, my friends. So with that in mind, thank you for watching, and I will see you here in just a couple of days for the Watershed. So you guys have a great one, and happy Halloween. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for watching.